Alrighty, let's hope that everything is live. Sorry for being a minute or so late. Yeah, StreamYard decided halfway through it wanted to give up on me, but I see that that Nick commented on this before we started. But we're here, aren't we? Just I can see there's already 4 people here, so welcome all. Glad to see you here. Again, sorry we're a little bit kind of mixed and match with things. I've had a very, very stressful day, so I've not even had the chance to go through and kind of do the things that I usually did. But with all of that said, I will, while pulling up just the final articles and whatnot that I need to pull up, waiting for more people to join in and do everything. Let's just roll the intro. And there we go. There's the titles done all nicely, and we thought I'd change up the song and change up everything else within it, while still keeping to the same theme of course, making it county related. So we're going straight in with the first part of what I want to do here, which actually conveniently has another video to be played with it. And that's the transfers we've made in the past 2 weeks. Now, of course, what the plan was for this show is that we were going to make, basically, this show is all the news at Newport that has happened from the 8th of July up until present day, of course, the 21st. Now, be really inconvenient if we dropped any news within this time frame of an hour or so while we're live, but irregardless, here we are with the news I've got. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, with the day being stressful and whatnot, I didn't quite have the time to do everything I wanted in terms of videos and stuff, the videos that I play in between segments and whatnot. But what I do have is basically, and I've been loading these up for ages. They just decided they wanted to load up for me for ages. You won't be able to see that, but that's a load of basically website articles and whatnot, just describing basically what's happened over the past 2 weeks. And there's a few miscellaneous things that I think will be covered, but we'll cover them towards the end. So again, while I just pull up everything else that I need, what I'll do is I will roll the bit about the signings, and we've included a special mention in this one as well. Now, there's the new signings. Now, if I was to play that again to you, look at how many clubs Courtney Baker Richardson has played for. I just need to show this again. Isn't that incredible? He's played for so many clubs, and yeah, he got loads of experience, but of course he is back, and that is the first player we will go into. So let me just swap over to this bit here, and we'll also do that. All right. So the first bit of news we got within the past 2 weeks, I believe it was actually the day after we did the first stream, which went incredibly well, thankfully, was the arrival of Courtney Baker Richardson, who signed, of course, on a 2-year contract. Loads of 2-year contracts being handed out. Very, very much a huge fan of it. Now, again, 9th signing of the summer. We've been quite busy at this point, which is really nice. But yeah, he's remained at the club until 2026 at least. The 28-year-old returns. Of course, he was here in the 21-22 season. 8 goals, 31 appearances, so many worldies as well. But then, of course, he went to Crewe, played 73 games, scored 19 as well, and his contract expired, and he's decided to come back to us. But the article mentions all of the clubs that he's played for before, and again, the list is quite impressive, actually. But he says, I've obviously been at Newport before, so I'm well aware of what is expected down here. I know the ambition of the club from when I was here. It's a homely environment for me, and I know what I must do to win the fans over. Now, I am personally incredibly excited about this business, not only because he's such a quality forward who we know can just kind of score goals from anywhere. When you're in League Two, that's really important, just being able to hit a ball in from 25 yards out. He was known for doing that. But the nice thing I think about having him is, and this has been mentioned by Crewe fans, despite the fact he had an injury last season that ruled him out for quite a bit of it, he still did all right. 33 games, 10 goals and everything else in between. So not an awful season, but I think the nice thing about him, apart from the goal scoring record he's of course got, is he's almost, in a way, he's a replacement to Bogle in the way that Courtney Baker-Richardson can hold the ball up. He can, play it out wide and do all that kind of stuff that we knew Bogle would do. But I don't know. There's that, I suppose, hope, given the fact he was so good for us before, that he can almost replicate that form and replicate what he did produce. Incredibly exciting deal. Of course, like we mentioned, 2-year contract. It's very nice that we're holding players with that, that mindset that they may do really well for the club and they'll be able to stay for more than a year and hopefully, more than 2 years, given the fact that Courtney Baker-Richardson is 28. He's definitely got a few years left in him. You'd imagine he's, for a striker, reaching the prime of his career. And that is, again, really, really exciting. So I think the thing that we've mentioned with him, like we said, he's been here before. He wants to get promoted because he missed out with Crewe. He said that in his kind of conference after joining or rejoining the club, should I say. And yeah, it's just I think universally a good deal. I think Crewe have Omar Bogle. If they can fit him in, he'll do really well. We've got now Courtney Baker-Richardson. He's already fit in here and done really well in the past. Could potentially do it again, and he adds that EFL experience that I think the squad needs, and I think it is being mentioned quite a bit. But that isn't the only signing we have made. Of course, we have signed as well Cameron Antwi from Cardiff. Now, he came from Fulham's ranks and, of course, joined Cardiff and had loans to Blackpool and various clubs around. Another 2-year deal. Again, I don't need to mention how important it is to have a 2-year deal, just because, having those players there and having that I suppose youth and that quality on a 2-year contract means you can develop them and potentially sell them on the second year. Or if it goes well, you keep them even longer term and, they almost become club legends in a way. But yeah, he made a switch to Blackpool 2019, advanced from the under-18s to the first team, also went to AFC Telford and Southport within that time. Then he joined Cardiff. It sounded like he was offered a new contract at Cardiff as well, and we've managed to actually, of course, take him off of Cardiff, which is really, really, promising. The fact we can take a player off of a championship club, albeit maybe he wasn't going to play, but the sounds were that if he wouldn't have got an injury, he'd potentially be within that first team squad. So the fact that we've been able to lure him over to Newport is, again, really exciting. And based off of what I've heard from his performances in friendlies, especially against Pontypridd, where he scored a goal, and it was an absolute corker as well by the looks of things. He looks like a player that will suit that midfield, will be that creative spark that we may need next to Aaron Wildig, and hopefully can be here for a good few years. So he says, I'm absolutely buzzing to be here. It's been a long time coming, as we've been in talks for a while, but I'm delighted to finally get it over to the line. When I spoke to everyone at Newport, I knew this was the right club for me. There's more mentions of him obviously wanting to get promotion as per what we've heard from every other signing, which, again, you potentially expect, but at the same time, it's really, really exciting to have those players have that ambition to get promoted and have that ambition to want to go up. So that's really really beneficial. And I've mentioned it with all the signings we've made. They're risks in the way that they're not established players, albeit sure, but I also think it's not too much of a risk. 22 2-year contract. You wouldn't imagine they're on massive wage. But even then, I'm sure we should have faith in Hugh Jenkins and Nelson Jardim to keep hold of the quality we've got, further develop them and get them working in a system that is potentially attacking minded, free flowing, almost the Swansea way, if you want to call it that, of the how it was, all the really quick passing and the high press and the high energy levels that we used to associate, or I suppose we're starting to associate once again with Swansea. But that seems to be the potential that we can go for, and it did sound like against Barry, the midfield had some form of creative idea with them. They had some form of really good ideas with them. It just didn't quite work at times, which I suppose for a first, maybe second game of all these players being together and learning how each other plays, I suppose that is expected. But we'll move on from the player signings, as there is only 2 of them within this time, but not going to complain at all. There are, of course, trialists that we've had, one of them being Kagbo, who is he's like a 6'4", 6'5" striker, formerly of QPR. I used to sign him on Football Manager all the time. So bizarre, but we're not going to complain at all. I think having that quality of a striker, albeit maybe he's not quite made it first team level yet. I think just having that height is really, really good for League Two. We know how physical it is, how aerially demanding the league can be as well, and having a striker of that height could be really, really dangerous. But we'll move on to this, which is the news that I think we all wanted. We all wanted the head coach appointment, but did we expect it to be Nelson Jardim? Maybe not. But he did agree to become the club's new head coach. Of course, what he was going to do was just take part in the coaching staff, whether it means we didn't find someone new or whether it means, I'm new to this channel. I like and I sub to you, and I'm a Sheffield United fan. Thank you very much, man. And I really hope all the best for Sheffield United this season. Decent club, do like them, to be fair. Have we had any long players off Sheffield United in the past? That's something that I need to think of now. I don't think we have. I don't know. I feel we always loan off we can loan players off Premier League clubs and whatnot, or Championship clubs, but I can't recall us ever loaning someone off of Sheffield United. So no, that's an interesting one. I think that's a trivia question there. Has anyone ever been on loan to Newport from Sheffield United? Of course, one of the links, I suppose, to Sheffield United with Newport County, 2016-17 season. Wouldn't have been when Ollie... No, because Ollie McBurney... Oh, no, I don't... So there was what? No, I got to search it now. I understand this is cheating, but Was it? I refuse to believe that was the time of it. I immediately said Ollie McBurney in my head. Was it Ollie McBurney? 2015. It was Ollie. We have had Ollie McBurney on loan from Swansea, albeit, but we've had Ollie McBurney, who of course did really well at Sheffield United. He was on loan from Swansea, so I suppose it doesn't count. 2016-17 goalkeeper. I don't know. Let me have a look. We'll have a look. Or maybe it'll work if I search at players who have been have played for Sheffield United. Now, of course, it says Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday first. Sheffield United and Newport County. Let's have a look. It's been sold. Yeah. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Like, I do not remember. Why? Well, yeah, I suppose. I don't know. Do you count Lee Evans as well? He played 21 games for Sheffield United. Technically, right? Lee Evans was one of them. Of course, plays for Blackpool now, which is a bizarre move. But who's the? No, I'm not. No, that's definitely not right. Do you want to go back to the 1990s and say Nathan Blake? Oh, I can't remember now. I don't know. Honestly, that'll annoy me for a good while now. A goalkeeper. 2016-17. I don't know. That one's really, that's bizarre to me. I do not know. But yeah, well we'll go swiftly on. Maybe one of the 1990. 1990, no thanks. Well, I guess there's the trivia question answered. I mean, there is a few of them, I suppose, but yeah, we'll go back on track to the appointment of Nelson Jardim, and I may remember or I may think of a goalkeeper that plays around that time, and maybe it'll happen. It wouldn't have been Joe Day, it wouldn't have been Nick Townsend, it wouldn't have been Ovendale, it wouldn't have been any of those. I can't remember any of the goalkeepers. See, I could be so wrong. See, I don't remember any goalkeeper being on loan at See, I just don't remember many goalkeepers past what we've got. But yeah, so Nelson Jardim, of course, what we mentioned is that he was going to take hold of a just coaching role, part of the coaching staff, and we assumed potentially that someone else was going to come in. But of course, the reality was that isn't what happened, and he's now he's agreed to become the club's new head coach or manager. It's like manager, but I don't think he has that much control on transfers. Maybe like head coach and manager have different terms. Your new away kit looks nice. This will be a mention later on, but it generally is one of my favorite kits that we've released. Absolutely stunning. But yeah, I thought maybe Nelson Jardim would take hold of it, and we were linked to, was it Cameron Toshak we were linked to for a good while, of course, also part of Swansea's system. But again, Nelson Jardim is appointed as the new club head coach. Now, head coach is a term that is very, very varied, I think, when you go from club to club, because my usual understanding of manager and head coach is manager has control of the signings to a degree, or at least a profile of the signings. And then head coach doesn't really have a say in it, in the recruitment aspect of things. I don't know whether the club has someone, I don't know if the club has a head of recruitment. I haven't heard anything about it. Not many clubs in this division do have that. I've heard that Nelson Jardim does have someone within his coaching staff that Hugh Jenkins has appointed. I cannot remember his name, but now it looks like this person has taken the role that Nelson Jardim originally held, which is interesting. Either way, I don't know what the aspect of head coach is here. I don't know whether he's going to be in control of signing the players or asking for what profile of players, or whether that's going to be a Hugh Jenkins and staff kind of thing. But Blades away kit is getting so expensive, but I'm getting it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you get up to that level, the kits become really expensive, don't they? I think ours is it 35 or is it 45? It's one of the two. I think it's 35. So very, very much a bargain for what it was. But yeah, it was very I'm not going to complain at all with the appointment of Nelson Jardim. Now, I showed his clubs in that little video. He's been at clubs as multiple different roles. He's been at Swansea as a fitness coach, Leicester as a fitness coach. He's been at Birmingham as an assistant manager. He's been at Olympiacos, I think it was an assistant coach. He's been back at Swansea as head of youth development or youth training and that kind of stuff. He was then recently in the second tier of Portugal as a manager. So this is his first, I suppose, step into senior football. This is his first, or not senior football, but senior management, senior head coaching, which I think a lot of people have been worried about. And part of me understands, and the reason I do understand why there's a little bit of worry is, of course, Nelson Jardim is an inexperienced head coach, and our signing kind of profile and the way we've been making business has been by signing young, inexperienced players. So you question, is this inexperienced head coach going to be able to get the best and coach this inexperienced squad in the best way possible? That's where experienced players come in. Of course, you've got Mark O'Brien, who is supposedly, or I don't know the name of his role, but you'd imagine he'll help the new players come in. And even though David Pike's registered as a kit man, I'm sure he'll help the players come in as well. So I suppose there's that little bit of leeway, because we've got in the staff, we've got ex-players, ex-senior pros who have played for Newport and can teach these players potentially things about the club and the way things operate and whatnot, and can help them train on the pitch and everything. But again, I suppose there is the justifiable question of, is an inexperienced head coach and inexperienced players, is that going to work well? Are they going to get the best out of everything, or are they going to be, inevitably there'll be mistakes, because there's always mistakes in this kind of profile of a job. But at any club, let's be fair, managers, players make mistakes, that'll be fine. But I think some people wonder, again, I suppose justifiably so, will they be able to correct the mistakes and find out what's gone wrong and, be able to take that under their wing and adapt and develop well? Which I think is a really interesting question to look into, and one that we'll find out within, of course, the opening 5-6 games of the season or so, whether they'll be able to adapt to it. But I'm relatively happy with this appointment. I think a few people as well thought it was quite overwhelming, or underwhelming rather, because we were linked with Cameron Koshak. We were linked with, I heard, Ashley Williams here and there. Of course, he would have fit, I suppose, the same inexperienced profile as Nelson Jardim. I heard a lot of ex-Swansea bosses and all this other stuff. But then, of course, we've hired someone who was already known to be in the coaching staff at the job. So I think again, a good few people have said it's underwhelming and it's not overly exciting business, which I suppose it isn't in that regard, but I don't think it needs to be exciting business if it does work. And like you'd imagine, Nelson Jardim has worked with some really, really good managers. He's been at Olympiacos, a really good club, of course, and in that kind of competed in Europe and all this other stuff. And he's been at Swansea, Leicester, and Birmingham, for example. And you'd imagine he's learnt a lot of really beneficial things to take into his coaching career. So for me, I think he's going to be able to adapt from being, this assistant manager, fitness coach, and head of youth development. He's going to adapt into a coach really well, because I think he can take all of that stuff that he's learnt from those jobs, but also take a few things that he's learnt from managers that he's worked under, whether that be him being an assistant manager, a fitness coach, or again, a head of youth development. I think he'll be able to have learned a lot and take a lot of that in. And he says here that only 1 or 2 matters need to be discussed and agreed during the last few weeks before the announcement would be confirmed. So it looked like this was something that, we would have known, or was in the talks probably about the time I did the last show. It was in the talks that it was going to happen. But he's left his young family in Portugal to move to Newport and take up this challenge, and it was a big decision for him to make. The club also needed written confirmation of Nelson's settled status in the UK, which we have now received. So it seems that's one of the reasons it took so long, because they needed proof that he was okay. But or okay to live here, and he would have moved here fine and whatnot. Nelson has made a big impact in Newport County over recent weeks, not only with the staff and the players, but also has been instrumental in helping to bring a strong, positive feel around the club. I think that's a very not generic term, but it's not into too much depth. But you can only assume it's a good thing if it's positive. Also, £85 this season. I can wait until Christmas. I mean, it'll be on sale as well, so I'm sure you won't be able to be too upset about that. We've got, hopefully today's update will allow everyone connect to the club, from the staff, players and supporters, to fully focus on the exciting new season ahead. Jardim initially joined Swansea as coach under Paulo Sousa in 2009, before following the former Portuguese international and Champions League winner to Leicester City a year later. From there, he returned to Portugal to become assistant manager at Liga Pro side Nacional, before returning to Swansea in 2017 as a lead academy coach, and then first team coach under Francesco Guidelin. I'm bad at pronunciations. Paul Clement and Carlos Carvajal, maybe. He departed the Liberty Stadium to become part of Aitor Caranca's coaching team at Birmingham City 2020, before returning home to become Maritimo B manager in his native Portugal. He will be joined by assistant head coach David Williams, goalkeeping coach Jim Holland, head of performance Scott Wiggins, strength and conditioning, and head coach Connor McGarrahan. Club legends David Pipe and Mark O'Brien will also remain part of the first team setup. The club has also put in a new head physio in Tristan Jenkins, who will oversee the club's medical department following extensive experience in the NHS, Swansea City Academy, Haverford County, and the Welsh Rugby Union. So that article, suggests the experience that he's been part of, and it also mentions the staff that we've still got and the staff that has been brought in. So it looks like all the bases of what we need at the club are covered, which is very nice. It's very beneficial, and you want to be able to have that kind of stuff there. So that kind of stuff put in place, very beneficial. Very pleased with it. What else have we got? These, I'm hoping that is spelt right to my knowledge, pre-season friendlies. Now, I made a TikTok about this yesterday, talking about results of pre-season friendlies and the fact that they don't matter, and the point of pre-season is to, especially when you're under new management and you have so many new players, see what works, see what doesn't, see what formations, tactics, systems all work, see what player combinations work, see what doesn't, see what you can try that is beneficial and you can use in competitive games. So the preseason didn't start when I did the last show, but it has, of course, now started. So we're going to go straight into the first game that we had, which was the annual trip to Undy in pre-season, which we beat them 4-0, which I think was a better scoreline than last year's. But yeah, we've got a 4-0 victory over fellow Welsh side, Undy AFC. We came out the blocks with... wait, hold on. I did open up... Oh, I've opened up last season's one. That's fun. 8th of July. No, I have not. That is from the 8th of July, 2024. That is 100% the correct date. Okay, that's interesting. So I've clicked onto the 8th of July article, and it's appeared with the game from last season, because it's shown the Omar Bogle and everything scoring. But again, like we mentioned, we got a convincing win against Undy. Some of the goals scored, I even made it kind of edit out of it. Rye scored an absolute worldie. Courtney Baker-Richardson scored an effort from long distance that went into the bottom corner. A lovely bit of link-up play there, involved an absolute tap-in by Spellman, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it was just a very professional, cohesive performance that worked and did what it was meant to do. Now, I can definitely commentate and mention, of course, the 2-0 win over Pontypridd. So this was the first game when Nelson Jardim was head coach. And of course, at the USW Sports Park, comfortable 2-0 winners is the term used. So it looked like it could have been more to, more to what meets the eye. But we saw the first starts of Jacob Kearney, Anthony Glenn, and Kieran Brennan. Apparently, we were looking and holding the ball really well and passing it around quite nicely, making Pontypridd chase it, which isn't something that we necessarily did last season, which, was, of course, keep hold of the ball, pass it around, make the other team work, tire them out, and then kind of punish them that way. But it looked like, again, from what we've seen, County broke the deadlock in the 21st minute. Joe Thomas down the right, playing the ball across to Morris, who slotted past Draper in the Pontypridd goal with a composed finish. It seems that we're developing an avenue of attack that very much ends with us straight in front of goal, which is, again, fantastic. The easier you can end up making a game for yourself, the better, of course. But it then mentions about the fact that it was very, kind of almost back and forth. There was a lot of testing of Kearney in goal, and we could have potentially seen 1-1, but it stayed 1-0 at half time. Of course, Nelson Jardim made a good few changes just to, again, you want to see the new kind of players come on and see how they play. It's really exciting again that we're seeing all these players work together and see which ones work, and again which one doesn't. But we nearly grabbed a third in the 73rd minute, but we had made it 2-0. I believe it was in the first half. So Rye continued to look live and came close to make 2-0. We made it. I believe we made it 2-0 in the first half, and then we kept hold of that lead, and it looked like we could have made it 3-4. But it says right at the end, Nelson Jardim's team continued to control the game in the closing stages, looking comfortable on the ball as they wrapped up a 2-0 win. One thing we didn't do necessarily last season was keep hold of the ball. We would very much get hold of the ball and potentially hit it out wide or hit it long just to keep it as far away from our goal as possible. Well, what it looks like is that we're almost looking to play out from the back, especially in a good few of these instances, or at least as they're being described. And it sounds like the midfielders doing really well to know whether they play the ball long or whether they play it short or even pass back to make sure we keep hold of possession. So it was that performance which sounded very positive. And then you've got the game that I've seen a couple of people raise question marks over. That's, of course, yesterday's game against Barrytown United, where we lost 2-1. We scored off of Aaron Wildig, but, of course, we conceded 2, lost the game. And I've seen a lot of people say that this is a really, bad result and we're going down and Nelson Jardim will be sacked by Christmas was one comment that I read. Some of it is, bizarre in that regard. And for me, I understand why you want to win preseason games. I understand the want to win them. I understand the almost desire to get those results and get the positivity flowing and that winning mentality, especially coming off the back end of last season, which was far from that. But at the same time, in my eyes, I don't really think preseason results matter. At the end of the day, last season, we lost to Sheffield FC. We lost to Yeovil really, really convincingly. I believe we only beat Pontypridd 2-1. These results, again, caused a lot of kind of negative energy and whatnot. But at the end of the day, preseason games, as I've mentioned on TikTok, and I've even mentioned on here now, they're opportunities for you to see what works and what doesn't work. evidently some of the things that we tried against Barrytown United didn't work. Apparently the sound was, or what I was messaged yesterday was, the midfield looked like they had kind of creative ideas, but they couldn't find runners, or there wasn't enough support going to them for them to be able to create many things. And that midfield looks potentially not strong enough in terms of physically strong enough. There's not enough depth in it, which is, they're all valid points in my opinion. And at the end of the day, I don't think you can judge how a season's going to go or how a manager is going to operate his team based off of preseason friendlies, because again, it sounded like we played marginally different against Barrytown United than we did against Pontypridd, because we're testing what works, what combinations of players work, what runs this player can make, and whether they're effective and read really easily, or even where your defenders are positioning themselves in order to potentially get hold of the ball or make it as difficult as possible for the opposition to get through it. And obviously it didn't quite work, but even Nelson Jardim said there were things there that I saw that were positive, and there was the mention of the keeping hold of the ball and all this other stuff again, which could potentially mean that we're going to become more of a possession-based side this season. Who knows? We've been playing a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, even if you want to, depending on how you want to shape it and how you want to look at it. But the overall basis is, and the overall kind of consensus I've got from this preseason so far, which is really starting to heat up as well, is that it isn't going too bad. Like, we're trying things, and we're varied so differently in the way we're playing every game that you can't expect us to thrash every team. As nice as it would be to have that winning mentality, when you're under a new coach and you have new players and whatnot, need to give them time to gel and play together, and that's what they're doing here for pre-season, ready for the first kick of the ball in the competitive game against of course, Cheltenham away. So for me, I just don't think you can really judge how a team's going to perform in a season over pre-season results. To me, that's bizarre, and I'm seeing it with a lot of other clubs as well. And I don't, I personally don't think they're very valid comments. And I see people trying to find other teams' pre-season results to take digs at them and say that they're going to do really bad, but then it doesn't, the competitiveness and the energy levels of a pre-season game compared to a competitive game, you can't compare them. So yeah, to me, caring about pre-season results to that amount of consistency it's bizarre to me, and I don't really think you can base that, because I don't think, again, pre-season results should be something that you take an eye on necessarily, because at the end of the day, who really cares in that regard? But we will move onto this game, because this is a competitive game within technicality. The Welsh League Cup, the Academy played Llandudno Town, which a team based up in North Wales. We lost 3-0 in the first round, so we're now out of the Welsh League Cup. I would have liked us to have taken this competition with a little bit of, intent of getting far in it, because you'd have that kind of nostalgic feel and that nice feel of getting far in a cup competition, and almost feel like how it was when we were competing in the Welsh Cup and getting really far in it and winning it and whatnot. So it would have been nice, but the reason I wanted to focus on this game is because, of course, it was a 3-0 defeat against Llandudno, which was a pretty convincing defeat. And it further kind of backs the comments up that Hugh Jenkins made a few weeks ago, if not a month ago now, about the academy not being, incredibly strong and not being able to have that easy jump from the academy to the first team. That result kind of shows it. It's a competitive game, albeit maybe Llandudno were preparing a little bit before the academy's team were. A 3-0 result, doesn't sound too convincing. But within, I suppose, the benefit, it looks like, of course, the academy have moved to the University of South Wales kind of sports park down in Cardiff. where hopefully they'll be able to develop a little bit better than the facilities or the lack of rather that we've got in Newport. And hopefully within that time, we can improve the facilities for training and development in Newport. So that academy can become very, very close to the level of the first team, because that was the mention of what was said in Hugh Jenkins' statement, was that we weren't, the academy isn't incredibly close in terms of being able to jump to that first team level as you'd like it to be for a club in professional and full-time football. But yeah, I feel like talking about the Llandudno result is kind of important for that regard, and it further does back up what Hugh Jenkins did say. But we're very quickly moving on here, and this is the final part I actually kind of have, and it's any other news from the past 2 weeks. And I think the main one we want to talk about is the kits that have been released. We'll talk about the home kit first. Unfortunately, I didn't quite have the time because of other things that were going on to get photos up of them and whatnot. But the home kit is inspired off of course, the transporter bridge and all this other stuff. The thing that I don't love about it is that, this has been, I think, a thing that has been mentioned by a few others, is that you can't really see that kind of engravement, if you like, that outline of the transporter bridge, because of the colours not being too different, or there being no outline or nothing. So from a distance, it does just look like a plain orange shirt. Nice to see that we've remained with kind of, the same sponsors. I think they work really well on the kind of orange shirt. Like I'm wearing currently the home shirt from last season. I think the Pure Vans sponsor works well. And of course, you've got it there on the kit from 2 seasons prior. I still think that sponsor does look quite nice. That's the home kit. Not my favorite. I do prefer this one, and I do prefer that one. But I absolutely loved the kind of sentiment they were going for and the idea that was behind it. But then the away kit, inspired by, I believe it was the 1991 kit that we had. White, proper collar, kind of, I suppose, shoulder, the nice colours on the shoulder of that kind of amber colour and all the colours that kind of associate with a club. Just very, very classy. It's a brilliant shirt, and I think even if you're not a Newport fan, you can give the credit for that shirt being wonderful. I saw one comment saying that the sponsor kind of here on the sleeve ruins it a bit. I don't think it does. I think the logo of that sponsor almost adds a little bit more variety to that side and adds a little bit more color, and it pops out a bit. But no, to me, that away shirt is absolutely wonderful. And to me, I don't understand how it's not being talked about more. And one other thing I've got to mention is how good the announcement video was for the home kit. You've of course got all the drone shots of Newport to change into Rodney Parade. And then you've got the away kit, which is very retro. You had kind of Will Evans dressed up in that, and that kind of 1980s, 1990s vibe, which is very nice. No, to me, I think the media team did phenomenally on developing the videos for the announcements of the kits. And then I also think, especially that away kit, looks absolutely phenomenal. To me, probably my favourite one that we've released since I've supported the club. To me, it's just absolutely stunning. I mean, you've got that design on the shoulders that kind of moves over and it goes over the logo. I believe it's Alpha on the sponsor. I think that logo, the kind of pink and purple, work really well as well. And the fact that there's nothing really below that, there's no over attention to detail. It's not overcrowded, I think is really nice. I like the simplistic design. I mean, it's not really going to show very well, and I'm showing it from the wrong side, but that's it. But there, it's just a stunning kit to me. I don't understand why, again, it's not being talked about more. And you've even got the goalkeeper shirt as well, the kind of stripes, if you want to call them that, almost lightning bolts at the bottom of pink, purple, goes up to the top where it gets a little bit more intense, and that middle bit is a little bit calmer. The alpha sponsors moved to a kind of white silvery color. If I show it, there it is. Also an absolutely stunning shirt, in my opinion. You've even got the home goalkeeper shirt, which follows a similar design, but it's more blue than the rest, which I again think is very nice. But if I show you the home kit, maybe you'll see what I mean by it potentially doesn't show as well. Maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's the the image. Maybe if I see it up close, I'll be able to see it properly. But from a distance, that does just look like a plain orange shirt, which I don't love, but I understand the sentiment they were going for, and I really do like that. But yeah, 45 minutes for a show is quite impressive, actually. I'm quite pleased to have covered everything within relative good depth and everything. Of course, we've not had quite as much as interaction as the first stream. Probably my fault for not promoting it as early. Of course, I promoted it yesterday. I think the other one I promoted 2 days before, and maybe probably doing it on a Sunday evening isn't the best shout. I may go back to, if I can anyway, Saturday afternoons. I think that may be a more fitting time. But irregardless, if you've been one of the three to have been here throughout the time, I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you, Jamie, for all of the comments. I will eventually find what player ended up playing for Sheffield United and Newport on loan in the 2016-17 season, if there was one, because we're now realizing there may not have been one. But final thing I do want to mention, we will change the banner. Of course, that's the usual. Support the channel in whatever way you see fit, using the links in the description. 6 likes on the stream. I really appreciate that. Thank you all very much for that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that we are roughly, I think it is direct number actually, 14 subscribers away from reaching the new milestone, if you want to put it that way, of 300 subscribers. We're 16 rather, just a bit off. But yeah, we are 16 subscribers away from the lovely number of 300. Of course, the aim is to hopefully get that before the season starts. But really, really appreciate the support that you always show when I do these live shows. The last one was incredible. This one's been really good as well. Of course, I've been posting on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts daily as well, just to make sure that I don't disappear with the content, and I've still got that kind of momentum going with me, and I'm still making sure that I'm in the swing of things, ready for the new season. I'm not overly pleased with the fact that I didn't manage to get more of the 23-24 season reviews done. I am, quite upset that I didn't get to do more of those. However, things outside my control meant I couldn't. I was away and whatnot, and things came up when I was about to do them and everything else in between, so I couldn't quite get more of them done. However, the hope is, of course, we'll be very much focusing on the Newport content. Of course, I've got, hopefully, with the plan is we're going to university. Well, I'm going to Cardiff University now in September. We'll be doing many things from there, many exciting things that will mainly probably go out on Twitter. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter, it's the same as the YouTube here in UTC. Same with TikTok, same with Instagram, although I think Instagram has a dot between my name and UTC. I believe it has a dot in there. I've even got a Facebook page if you want to go follow that. And I think that's everything covered. So, yeah, again, support the channel, whatever way you see fit. There's all the links in the description. There's even the Twitch that I don't use very much. There's the Ko-fi. There's the website that I haven't written on for ages because I need to write more stuff for the sports deck. And yeah, other than that, thank you all for tuning in once again. We'll be back probably in another fortnight covering any other news. And within all fairness, if I come back in a fortnight, hold on, let me have a look. If I have a look at dates quick, we'll have the 28th will be obviously next. Well, the 27th is next Saturday. I will be away for that, obviously. We won't be doing a stream then anyway. But the Saturday after that is the 3rd of August. That is a week to the day before we go to Cheltenham. So I will be doing a stream on the 3rd of August, wrapping up everything that we can ahead of the season, and we'll have content throughout that entire week, building up to the big kickoff against Cheltenham. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all once again live here on YouTube. Hey, there we are. There's Aaron. How are we? How are we, mate? Really appreciate you stopping by. We were literally about to hop off, but I'll stay on for another 5 minutes or so while we can. But like I did mention, we've got the next show will be on the 3rd of August, exactly a week before the kickoff of the new season. And then we'll have content for that entire week to just cover everything and make sure that we're don't worry about it, mate. No worries at all. No worries at all. But we'll have plenty of content out to make sure that we're ready for the new season. I'm really excited for it, for not just YouTube, but professional opportunities and media and all this other stuff. Hopefully it's going to be a really beneficial and a really, really good season. But yeah, we will stay on for about, again, another, how long have we got until we reach the hour mark? We've got about 8 minutes. I mean, we'll see if anyone else joins, but if not, I'll hop off about the 55-minute mark on this stream. Thankfully, I say thankfully, we did cover all the news very quick because there wasn't, again, as much interaction in the stream. I'm not fussed. It's all good. Still really enjoyed the bits of interaction we did get. We had a trivia question of if any Sheffield United players have played for Newport. And we came to, well, obviously we've had the Ollie McBurney and whatnot. But we also established there's potentially one that was on loan in the 2016-17 season, who was a goalkeeper, and I cannot remember his name. Don't even know if he exists. He might not. How are you feeling about Newport summer so far? I've answered this quite a bit in depth, but I'll answer it again out of the fact that it's kind of updated a bit now with the appointment of Nelson Jardim, who's a very inexperienced coach, but experienced man when it comes to football. But their approach is interesting. It's everyone bar one player is under the age of 24. Not many of them have any EFL experience, which is potentially a cause for concern because you need that mixture of experience and youth to be able to have a coherent unit that works really well together. But then at the same time, in my mind, I think we've got Mark O'Brien, former player, in the kind of staff. David Pipe also back in the staff. Those are both experienced, former experienced pros who can potentially help these new players learn the ropes of senior football. You've then also got, for example, James Clark is here. He's an experienced EFL player, especially for us. Courtney Baker-Richardson added that bit of experience in the attack, which I think we desperately needed, which, again, can only be beneficial. You've then got, I suppose, again, you've got Nelson Jardim, who's an inexperienced coach, but like I said earlier, I think his experience is that he's been at clubs like Olympiacos, Leicester, Swansea, Birmingham. He's been at loads of clubs, high-profile clubs. And albeit he hasn't been manager, or he hasn't even been assistant manager for most of them. He's been assistant manager at Leicester, but he was a fitness coach at Swansea. He was a fitness coach at Olympiacos. Again, assistant manager at Birmingham, head of academy training, or it was something along those lines in terms of the name of the role at Swansea when he went for the second spell. His first touch into management was as recent as this season in Portugal. I believe it's the second tier, or it's the second side of a bigger club in Portugal. So he's not got that experience directly in terms of management or head coaching, for instance. But I think he's got enough experience from his old roles. We can adapt the fitness coaching and potentially the academy coaching into what he brings into the actual coaching and training on the day. But then you've also got he's learned from really, really successful and good managers. So hopefully he can adapt some of that and bring it to his own game. And by the sounds of how he speaks, he's well articulated. He knows what he wants of the team. He knows the way he wants to play, and it sounds very much like the old Swansea way of playing. High tempo passing football, very energetic, that kind of thing. Also, potentially, you can change that as well to high possession rates, passing it around the back, tiring oppositions out, and then catching them on the break. Seems that's the two ways we've been going for. We've changed formation to a 4-2-3-1 from a 5-back, which suggests to me we've potentially got a few more midfielders coming in, because we currently don't probably have enough midfielders to sustain that. But yeah, in terms of summer recruitment, I don't think we can be upset about it. There's been plenty of additions, but at the same time, it may go wrong because they don't have enough experience. It may not go fantastically in that regard, but irregardless, I think it's very, very exciting. I'm glad even the local pundit can rate a good kit when he sees one. Isn't it a stunner? I don't love the home shirt, and this was the thing that I was saying before. We're kind of mentioning things. I don't love the home shirt just out of the basis of I love the idea. The idea is it's supposed to, be that orange shirt, but have the transporter bridge almost as I suppose, an ingrove on it. It's supposed to be in a slightly darker shade so you can see it. But I don't think they got the shadings really bang on. If you look at it from a distance, it just looks like a plain orange shirt. And maybe I'll, become fond of it if I look at it up close and I can see the kind of outline of the transporter bridge and whatnot. But I don't love it. But the away kit, just as a genuine football fan, you can't not love that kit. Very much a hint, or a bit of recognition to, I believe it is the 1991 kit with the proper collar, the kind of, again, the orange and black engravements, patterns of orange all over the sleeves and over the top. I love that the bottom of it isn't overly crowded with loads of colours and stuff. I think just having the plain white works really well. And even if you look at the goalkeeper kits, they're lovely as well. They have this almost lightning bolt effect on them. The home kit's more of a blue, light blue, and even dark blue mixture. And then you've got the away goalkeeper shirt, which is very much purple and pink and that stuff all engraved, which I really, really do like. And another thing I really like about the shirts, I'll have to send you an image of this. It's one of our training shirts. Probably I wish it was our third shirt. It's that good. It's just a training shirt, but I absolutely love it. It's hard to make yellow sexy. I mean, that lighting doesn't make it look very nice, but it's not. It is supposed to be an amber color, which is, I suppose, a lighter orange, kind of a yellow, I suppose. But you vary from that kind of amber to that one. But no, it's very hard, to be fair, to make the colours of this shirt look, incredibly nice. But I think the X3 have done a fantastic job at actually making them look very nice. But I'm going to send you a photo of this training shirt. And the fact it is now a third shirt, I might start a riot over it because it's that good. It is an unreal shirt. And again, for training, bizarre. But being home for an hour, which I didn't actually expect, given the fact that, I didn't see much kind of chat and whatnot. Again, not complaining. It is what it is. I think the next plan for a stream is on the 3rd of August. What time? Maybe do it 5 p.m. this UK time. No, we might do 6 p.m. again, which is the time I started this one. We'll probably do it again 6 p.m. Saturday, just a week before we start the season, just to have that excitement going into it. But that being said, again, we're 16 subscribers off of 300, so really appreciate that. I looked at my would have been on earlier. Nah, don't worry about it at all, man. Don't worry about it at all. It's all good. I saw actually before I started streaming that you were live, so I hope that stream went well for you, and I'll probably just end up catching up on it in a bit after I finish up a few other bits and bobs that I need to get uploaded and whatnot. But yeah, 16 off of 300. Very nice. How long is it now until the season starts? 3 weeks? Just under 3 weeks until the season starts? Fed up of pre-season now. I want the actual football back. And we're not far away. So exciting in that regard. But yeah, we'll go fortnight from now, Saturday, 3rd of August, 6 p.m. I'm even going to put it out on Twitter, so hopefully we can kind of build that and make it a really I might not even make it a Newport dedicated stream. I might invite some people on and almost preview the entire, maybe not even just League Two. We might even go into a bit of Championship, League One, maybe even National League. We'll see how it goes. But that's the plan. Hopefully it goes well. I'll have to make sure that everything's free schedule-wise. If not, it'll be in the week at some point. But yeah, we'll head off now. Appreciate everyone joining and chatting as always. And I'm going to play the intro one more time, despite the fact it says welcome and I'm hopping off. But I took my time to edit this. I have the right to play it twice. There we go. All right, fantastic. See you both later. And yeah, well, I'll have to again. I'll send you over that shirt because by God, it's stunning. All right, take care, all, and speak soon.